Marry people in Reddit. What made you say I'm gonna marry this man woman? Mine's a bit morbid, but my husband has a congenital heart defects, and we knew he had a heart operation in his future. He decided he wanted me to be the one to decide, should his life hang in the balance, how to take that forward. So that's why we got married. Neither of us will ever trust anyone else more. 12 years into the marriage, he's still the person I want advocating for me, and we've proved over and over to each other that it was the right choice. We both fell asleep 5 minutes into a movie. The end credits woke me up, and I found her drooling on my shoulder and snoring. I smiled, and my first thought was, yeah, I could do this forever. And even though we had barely been dating for 2 months, I bought a ring the next day. Our 21st anniversary is in August, so I guess I was right. She had an iPhone 4 brand new at the time. I had a regular old dumb phone. We were walking into Walmart and I realized I had to poop. I tell her I'm going to the bathroom. She asks, "Are you going to poop? Do you want to switch phones so you can play a game while you're poosing?" I swooned. We dated for 7 years. Spent the later part of that duration just waiting for lives to be financially stable enough. About halfway in, I realized how much my life benefited from her being in it. How much better and happier a person I had become. The same was true for her. Our interests overlapped so much that it would have been a perfect circle. She loved me, flaws and all, and I loved her as she was. We were married for 10 years, wherein we built careers in the same profession, bought a home for our young family of 4, and finally had everything we wanted. We just had to live it. More than anything else, she was my best friend. The one person who knew my very soul. That's why I chose to spend my life with her. She told me that I saved her from her toxic life at home. She died in December. I hope 17 years together was good enough. I hope it was worth it. I knew when I met her. Hard to articulate, but I just knew immediately. And this was in high school. Been an awesome 40 years. He's just so patient, good-natured and stoic. I am high-strung and he relaxes me. It's rare that I experience an immediate crush, but I reverted to lack of eye contact, darting glances rather than my forced version autism with him. Everything with him was easy, there weren't a lot of big compromises idealistically. It just felt right being with him. I knew I loved him pretty quickly and let him know if he proposed I'd say yes. She made mundane activities like grocery shopping feel special and fun. We had a fight, and instead of walking away, he sat down and talked things through until we found a resolution. He had a job, a car, and didn't do meth. God, my bar was so low. He would call me every night while stationed in Korea and read my kids not his a bedtime story, or play Battleship with us over FaceTime. Their birth dad was also overseas and he would call once a month. He would also make up bedtime stories if he forgot his book, so they would get stories of LOTRs that he remembered. When we moved in together, he continued to read them stories. Even now, 7 years later, he will still lay with my older kids until they fall asleep. He reads to our youngest. He works really hard to understand them and help them with their emotions even while he's still learning about his. He is constantly trying to be better. He's still human, but his smile, laugh, and his love for our mixed-up family is why I picked him. I felt safe and at peace. I knew he had my back no matter what. And when my mom was diagnosed with cancer via an ultrasound which couldn't diagnose cancer, he went to bat and contacted his professors and coworkers to get her in to see an amazing oncologist, which she turned down, instead opting to have the surgery to remove her thyroid and half of her parathyroid. Spoiler alert, she didn't need the surgery and didn't have cancer. She needed iodine. She had a goiter, and had she had the biopsy that I demanded, would have found that out. He came to the hospital and sat with me while my 3-year-old niece sat on his lap telling him all about football based off of the pictures in the magazine he was trying to read lol. There was one moment, but a series of moments. Him introducing me to his family and me getting along with his siblings. Us deciding to be long distance while I went to law school. Him supporting me the whole way. Being excited to move in together and furnishing a new place. Arguments we kept clean and bounced back from. Making it through quarantine happier with each other than ever. Going on little and big adventures. We've been together for 12 years, married for 2, and he is in all versions of my imagined futures. We were running errands about a month into dating. I said next stop, Trader Belch. It was the grossest, deepest burp ever. I had no control over it. I could have been speaking at the UN and this demon would vacated my soul of its own volition. His response was, "Are you okay?" I think he was trying to decide between calling a doctor or calling a priest. Anyway, I knew he wasn't going anywhere after that. First date. He was just this super positive, funny person. My life was constant stress. He made me forget it all and just wanna be happy with him. Hell, I married him a few months after we met. It's been rough, life has beat us the fuck down and he's lost a lot of his happiness, but I know it's in there. So now I try to be his rock. He deserves everything good in this world. After sleeping with and dating many women, just for context, not trying to beat my chest, I realized what I needed in a partner was someone who was kind and secure in herself, and who conceptualized a relationship as a team striving to achieve a common goal. Bonus was she was quirky and attractive too. I now have 3 wonderful children with her and thank God every day for my blessings, even though I'm not particularly religious. I strive with every action and intention to build her the best life she could possibly experience. I'm very lucky. He makes me feel like I'm the most beautiful person in the world. He is thoughtful and always takes care of me when I need it. We have a lot of things in common and our values are aligned. We don't get into fights very often, and when they do, it's usually something silly. The serious problems that do arise, we talk it through and find compromise if we can't agree. I have become a better person because of him. I'm more compassionate, understanding, and forgiving. He supports me in my career aspirations and is always uplifting. He dances while he cooks and loves living. I'm such a serious curmudgeon about life sometimes. He thinks that's funny. His sense of humor is really good. She was out of my league and in love with me. It was an easy decision for me. He made me laugh all the time. Nearly 40 years later, he still does. I mean, it didn't make me want to marry her, just made me realize this is someone special. When I was having a breakdown, because I was remembering shit that happened to me in the past, and instead of calling me a pussy or trying to find an excuse to leave, she just stayed with me and comforted me and encouraged me to talk through my issues to her.